Morning to you all. Welcome to our Friday Namaste Village experience. I love calling it an experience. It makes the exciting exciting. This is exciting, but we need to be excited about it, to actually dive into and have an experience that transcends this world, that transcends your perceptual mind. In other words, just blasts it open beyond its limitations so that you can see what can be truly seen, what has always been seen. So today we're going to be diving into this in a very beautiful way, and I'm so glad that you're with us. Thank you for joining. I know there are going to be a lot of new people with us today, so you are very welcome. We do join here together every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m., 11 a.m. Eastern time. Right now we are on Mountain Time, so I know we have people from all over the world. We have people from Hawaii, we have people from all over joining together because we have a single intention to remember the truth that is forever true, to remember who we are, who I am, the I am presence within, and not only to remember it, but to activate that presence. Oh, someone got unmuted. Okay, here we go. To activate that sacred presence within us. Now, one of the reasons I mention this is because starting tomorrow, we have a new group that is going to be beginning our 3-month deep dive into the actual experience, the Enlightenment Partner Program. We had our first group go through this late last year, and it was remarkable. The commitment, the dedication, the experiences that people had. And I'm going to be offering this hopefully again and again. We have a group starting tomorrow. So I'm going to be speaking to all of us, but I'm going to be in particular speaking to them because today's lesson for each one of us is the beginning, is the entry point into the experience itself. But before we do that, I want to share something. We're going to begin with our prayer and our acclamation. So I'm going to put this on the full screen and ask you all to join with me as we say, my soul has but one goal, to awaken to the truth that is forever true. My heart has but one desire, to remember the passion of infinite bliss. My mind has but one focus, to embrace the reality that is forever real. I choose to awaken now to the infinite love that is my source. I give everything to this love, just as it has given everything to me. I am awake now. So, how is everyone today? Actually, before we do this, I want everybody to unmute just for a second, because I want to hear your voices. I want to hear this proclamation. So everybody unmute. Then I'll ask, how is everyone today?
Awake,
and ready.
awake and ready.
I'm awake and free.
Ready.
Awake and ready.
Ready.
Awake and joyful.
Okay.
Being present and loving.
All right. We are awake and we are ready. Let me go ahead and remute. That's nice. I'm going to remute. I'm not sure which is correct, and that doesn't matter. All I know is that we are here. This is it. This is the moment. So let's dive right in. I'm excited, as I said, because today's lesson is going to be the beginning step, and it's going to be a step that is completely foreign to the ego mind, completely bizarre and crazy that such a thing could be possible. But this is the beginning. Now, I say this because in the Enlightenment Partnership Program, the first couple of weeks of the program are focused on something that we hint about a lot here during our Namaste Village sessions. In the program, we dive into it in a very, very big way. And that's why we're going to start with this today. And the idea is that we don't know anything. The ego is actually the essence of not knowing, though It thinks it knows. If you've ever had a child or a child in your life, you know that at different ages, they think they know so much. And yet when they get a little bit older, they look back at what they thought they knew and realize, I didn't know much at all at that point. Even in our 20s, we think we know so much, but when we get to our 30s and 40s, we begin to realize, wait a minute, I didn't know as much as I thought I did. And that's exactly what this experience is going to be about. This is the beginning step. And so, as you know, or as you don't know, I have been this week sharing the Master Teacher Within book. Today is the last day you can get it from Kindle for free. I did, if you saw it, send out an email just yesterday. All right, looks like I'm back. I was out, but now I'm back. Can you all hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay, good. Internet is a little spotty here at the beach sometimes. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, it doesn't matter. We're going to dive right into this. Oh, I was saying that I was able to send out the PDF to everyone. So if you weren't able to get it on Kindle, now everyone has it. You can download the PDF and you can read it. And once again, the only thing that I ask is that you go to Amazon at some point and please write a review. Please write a review. That's so helpful to share the book. People do read those reviews. And if we have hundreds of people talking about how transformative the Master Teacher Within, that's going to inspire even more to go out and to get it. So that being said, let's dive right into this. This is the new Master Teacher lesson that just came up yesterday. I just got a message saying that my internet is freezing. Can you still hear me? Everybody okay? All right. Hopefully we will be good. Let me share this message that came through just yesterday. I knew when this message came through, when I fell unconscious and suddenly there it was. There, I opened up my eyes on the screen and there was this incredible message that was so foreign to the split egoic mind, but I realized just how true and how powerful it was. So let me read this to you and then we'll go back. It says, the Christ in you is always awake. The Christ in you is always awake. That means that you are always awake because you cannot be separated from that which is all encompassing. You cannot be separated from that which is all encompassing. And the Christ is all encompassing. So if the Christ in you is in you and is already awake, then you are part of that all-encompassing experience. You cannot be separated from the truth of who you are. You cannot be separated from the truth of who you are. Though you do seem to be lost in a dream of separation. There's only one solution to this seeming problem. Realize that you were wrong about everything. There it is. Realize that you were wrong about everything. Now, that is the ultimate slap in the face, or at least it feels that way. It feels like you're being condemned. It feels like you're a child or a fool. But what we're going to hear now, what we're going to experience is this is the way out of the dream of separation. This is it. Everybody give me another thumbs up. Am I still with you? Give me a thumbs up. Beautiful. Okay. Here we go. Your split mind won't allow this, won't allow you to realize that you were wrong about everything. Because, wait, hold on. Your split mind won't allow this because it knows that being wrong about everything is the same, here we go, the same as being right about all things. Once again, your ego won't allow this. It won't allow you to realize or to accept or to admit that you were wrong about literally everything, because being wrong about literally everything is the exact same thing, the initiation point of being right about all things. This is the lesson. This is the critical point here. It will allow you to be wrong about many things, even most things. But it knows, here we go, it knows that being wrong about everything initiates a total experience. Once again, being wrong about everything initiates a total experience, and any total experience, no matter how it looks or feels, cancels out the effects of the illusions that the split mind loves. It cancels it out. Any total experience, no matter what it looks like or feels like, cancels out all of the illusions that the split mind loves and claims to be real. Sickness, pain, and death are then seen for what they are, impossible fantasies that hold no ground in heaven. Isn't this an interesting idea? That it's only when you admit that you've been wrong about everything that you suddenly are right. An experience is sparked inside you when you are willing to go all the way. As it's just said, the ego will happily admit it was wrong about some things, even most things, but the idea that it was wrong about everything, literally everything, it won't go there. It won't allow you to go there because it knows that's the initiation point. That's why we're stressing this so much. Okay, here we go. You believe that the concepts of right and wrong are opposite sides of a straight line. That the idea of right and wrong, right is here, wrong is here, opposite sides of a straight line. But there are no straight lines in the real world, only circles that lead to where you've always been. Isn't that interesting? There are no straight lines in the real world, only circles that lead back to where you've always been. You know, just before we started, I was sitting out here in my porch looking out at the ocean. And just as people thought for hundreds of, maybe thousands of years, it seems as if the ocean goes out and then just drops. It would have been easy to believe that the earth is flat if you've never had the perspective of looking at it from a very high distance. If you're on the ground, the appearance is that the earth is flat and that it drops off. It's only when, what? Only when you lift above the earth that you begin to see the curvature, that you begin to see the roundness, the circle. And then you realize, no, it was only from a limited perspective that it seemed to be flat. But now I know, now I see that it was never flat at all, because I was able to lift above. This is lifting above. What you're hearing from the master teacher within you is the lifting above this idea of flatness, of a straight line, into the reality of it's all one circle that always leads back to where you've always been. This is the key. Right and wrong, it's one big circle. So let me see if I can do this. If this was our idea of right, and this is our idea of wrong, but we bend that so that it comes around to a circle, what happens then? Right and wrong are in the same place. They become a total experience, always leading back to where you've always been. Okay? This is big. Let me continue. That's why the realization that you've been wrong about everything initiates the experience of being right about all things. This makes no sense to your intellectual mind because all your ideas about right and wrong were established to protect and maintain the ego's dominance. Every concept you've ever had about right and wrong were made to maintain the idea of the ego's dominance. All I'm asking, the master teacher within, that's who's speaking to you, the master teacher that's within each one of us, all I'm asking is for you to consider the possibility. That's all you need for right now, is to consider the possibility that you were wrong, that you've been totally wrong about everything, and then see what happens. See what happens when you admit that. You've claimed the world you see, but it never claimed you. You've claimed this world that you see, but it never claimed you. If you accept this, then you'll find yourself released from all the fantasies that once claimed your mind. Isn't that interesting? And then you're free, and when you're free from all of these illusions, you will soar above this world, escaping forever the dream that held you ransom. The dream that held you ransom, that convinced you of the impossibility that you could ever be separated from that which is all-encompassing, from that which is total. So I want you to really see if you can get this. You admitting that you've been wrong, not about most things. See, this is where we usually want to go, because the split mind interprets being wrong about everything as the ultimate failure. And what you're hearing now is that it's not the ultimate failure at all. It's the exact opposite. Why? Because it's all circular. It's the greatest success. It's the stepping back into reality. Being wrong about everything is the same initiation point as being right about all things. And this is an experience. Don't try and understand it. Maybe you're feeling something as you hear this message. Maybe you're feeling something beginning to stir inside you. Maybe it feels like confusion. Maybe it feels like elation. Whatever it is, go with that. It's like the current of a river. Go with the current of this river. Let it take you. I've used this analogy many times before. If you get into a river in a canoe or a boat, and you try to paddle against the current of that river, it's going to be very hard indeed. You're not going to go very far, and you're going to get very tired. That's what you've been doing by thinking that you've been right about at least a few things. Come on, give me a few things. Give me this or that. No, surrender. Accept that you weren't right. Any part of the split mind that you use to interpret what you experienced, any part of that is the experience of being completely misguided, misled, wrong about everything. And now you can step in instead of tiptoeing. You can dive into the current of that river and say, take me. Okay, I admit it. I was wrong about everything. And then suddenly an experience will dawn, wholly unlike anything you've ever known before. And you'll realize, not in your mind, not intellectually, that you've actually been right about all things. Wow. When I read this yesterday, actually what had happened was I went to pick up a new car. Some of you know that I exploded my other car. It's a long story. And so we were able to work a deal with the Ford dealership in a town about an hour from here, Colima. And I was sitting and I was waiting, and I had to wait for about an hour or so, and all I had was my phone. So I typed out the question on my phone. And I have no idea one of these days I'm going to record myself doing this with my camera, because I have no idea what it looks like. I don't know if I fall over, if my head drops. I'm assuming not, because I have to, somehow something is being written through me. All I know is that I'm sitting there in the waiting room of a Ford dealership for however long it was. Luckily, no one bothered me. No one said anything to me. But when I opened up my eyes, that was what was on the phone. And I realized in that moment, this is it. This is taking that straight line and making it into a full circle where right and wrong come together. We all know and love that beautiful Rumi poem. Out beyond all ideas or concepts of right doing and wrongdoing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. That's what we're doing. We're meeting in that field. We're meeting in this experience. So, why not try it? Why not give this a try? Just accept that this world is not flat after all. Lift me above it all. Lift me so high that I can see that it's a big circle, and that everything comes together within me when I accept that When I'm on the ground, when I'm flat, I'm wrong about everything. But that experience is what lifts me above so I can be right about all things. So that's our message for the day. And I'm going to turn it over to our dear Vicki, who I believe is in finally settling in New Jersey now, getting everything unpacked with Harvey and Noreen, her sister and brother-in-law. So dear Vicki, would you like to share anything around this?
Oh, Brother James, thanks so much. I would, and I love the message, and I would love to see a video of you getting that message. That would be a great experience for everyone because it pictures below the line and above the line. It's like being below the clouds in time and space, then above it and coming back in with that awareness. So what that does, the message though, how it sets in me, it's really very simple about being defenseless. Isn't it about like letting go of every defense always wants to adjust or come up with some alternate solution. And that's why the ego loves us to live in mediocrity, where there's a little bit of hope. Oh, you've got cancer, but you can have this treatment. Oh, you've done this, but if you try one more thing. It loves us to go between the options of right, wrong, good, bad, healthy, sick. And if it keeps our attention on those options, we stay in this level field where nothing really changes or happens. But when we do as you suggest, or that message suggests, we let it all go. That's surrender, Dorothy. We let it all go, no matter what, and become so defenseless. And this is a defenseless moment when we can open up to that inner spring, that living spring of grace and love that does guide us in everything. And then when we come back into this experience, we're not limited by it because we're not looking for options to choose anymore. We're looking for ways to keep giving and extending. Because circle living, that description of living without boundaries in an endless circle that really has no parameters in any direction, but's in full communion is a wholeness, that fullness of wholeness can be and can express in this dimension, any dimension. And it'll express in the same way because its identity of love is an experience of giving. So I love the message, and it is a way of life. And many times we can drop into that experience in a crisis or when there's great desire. Hopefully we do it with great desire and not wait for a crisis. Most experiences come through crisis, despair, approaching death experience, but they don't need to. Baptism by fire, by water. We've been gathered together because we have been readied somehow by the grace of God. We have been ready for a baptism by grace, by water. And that's by desire. That, like the opening prayer that we said, when we desire one thing, everything else we can let it go. And it's easy to let it go when you don't know anything. That's why watching kids is great. I know I don't know anything. It's like I haven't got a clue until I show up. And then when I show up, it's very much like your experience of becoming conscious and reading what you wrote. When we show up to a place, and here I am in a new place, I haven't got a clue what to do. And I show up, but what to do is given, because it's not what to get anymore. It's a way of how do I give myself? How do I give, whether it's to space, physical space, clean it, order it, give to it, or someone that walks through the door, I give to them. I'm not looking to get anymore. I think that's the final, or at least it's the most apparent experience that we come into when we let go of trying to fix and solve things ourselves, become totally defenseless, and let ourselves be taken. It's no different than saying, let ourselves be loved. If we're God's children, well, that's great news. Let ourselves be loved. I want to let myself be loved. I'm tired of trying to do it myself. And that's why, I've been part of that good girl syndrome. that good girl or good boy syndrome, that's a lot of work because you keep going through all the options, right? And finally, when you realize, forget it, I want a whole answer, not a partial answer that's temporary, that works for a while. I want the whole thing that only works, that only gives, that only loves. So the defenselessness opens us up to grace. That's all it does. It's so simple. It's almost mechanical. As soon as we stop trying the options, we say, that's it, I'm done. Show me. Holy, show me. Holy, I only want love. When love is all we want, love's all we get. I only want love. And let it fill in however it fills in. Don't wait till you're walking on water and thinking, oh, that's it. Don't wait for anything. Just rest in it. In the resting, it's like watching a bubbling brook bubbles up to the surface. Let it bubble up. Let it bubble up and watch yourselves. Like when James wakes up from that restfulness and sees words typed on a screen, we awaken the same way from that restfulness. And we come into a present moment of happiness, of giving, of loving. Defenselessness brings us into natural love. That's what our identity is. That's what everything becomes part of. And the way that we recognize it is we see ourselves so happy to give, not needing anything, not trying to get anything, seeing how everything is already given and appreciating it and being grateful. Being grateful keeps that grace, that open, that portal in us open. Being grateful and giving. So Brother James, thanks for that launch. And if we have another minute, I see Darla and Alden are in the room. Maybe they'd like to share.
Sure, Darla and Alden, I would love to hear, if you could wrap it up in about 3 or 4 minutes, that would be great to hear from you, because I know, these are people who are living this. I know Vicky and Alden and Darla and so many of you. There's no resistance to this at all. Usually, when we hear that I'm wrong about everything, you're going to experience ego resistance. These are people who have no resistance. They are very happy to take Sergeant Schultz from Hogan's Heroes as their guru. So go for it, Darla.
Thank you, James. Love you so much. Thank you, Vicki. It's an honor to be here with you all. The first thought that comes to my mind, I just keep seeing that circle, that infinite circle. And it's so beautiful to have the experience, to know the reality of that, what that is, that the never-ending circle that's the first source and center, and the infinite spirit aspect of God, the mother, the son are all within that circle. And it's an experience we're all honored to actually have and experience the reality of that. Teacher in body form that I shared with James, Alden shared with James and Vicki, he put what James said, the idea of knowing that you're wrong, just totally wrong. He said, if you can't in a moment remember who the heck you are, that you are the Holy Son of God himself, then, and you have to feel guilty, be totally guilty for all of it, not specific, nothing specific, just be totally guilty for the whole thing. So that came to mind as James was saying, just be completely wrong, about it all. And then it can shift, then it can flip. You're not saying this specific thing, this little thing, no, just all of it, I'm just wrong. And then the shift occurs and you remember who you are, whole and complete in God. So thank you for everything. Thank you for listening to the voice for truth within you and sharing it with us all, James, and for every one of you that listens to that voice for truth. Alden?
And I would just appreciate that Darla said about gratitude, and it's to feel the circle completing rather than just stretching out into an infinite future. That completion of the circle as an experiential aspect of yourself is a true joy. That's what we're really searching for. And as we contact that infinite, powerful inner teacher that James has been talking about, it can come out within you in a very unique form. Like you may start a food bank, or you may go into nature and worship God, or however you do this is going to be very unique to you, but the content will be the same, an experience of infinite love. And the form, it doesn't matter. You're going to be unique about this, but the form is going to be a beautiful expression of God through you to all the world. And so we're looking forward to everyone.
Oh,
Come back in, my dear.
okay. I'm back.
Oh, there he is. Go ahead, honey.
This is the world we live in. Sometimes we're in, sometimes we're out. But if we can have a total experience, a total dedication, any total experience, whether being totally wrong or totally right, will initiate the experience of wholeness, which is forever true. That's all this is saying. I love that you brought up what the master teacher, our teacher, had said. If you want, don't be guilty for a little bit. If you want to have a total experience, be guilty for all of it. Say, it's all on me. It's all on me. Now, immediately, it's going to feel like the weight of that is going to be overwhelming, but it's not. It's nothing. But you can't experience that it's weightless, that all the sins of the world, all the guilt of the world are weightless until you take it on. Now, one thing I want to say before we go, Darla mentioned the master teacher. So in my original experience, my initiation into these teachings, it felt as if it was that consciousness. I realize now that it was much, much, much more. But you may be interested to hear more from that consciousness. Maybe Darla and Alden, you know the proper website. I know that if you just Google Master Teacher Radio, you can listen to some of the sessions that he shared in particular. You can hear that. Darla and Alden, do you know what the actual website is?
We don't. There's information on A Course in Miracles International site. Any thoughts, Alden?
Yeah, the A Course in Miracles International.com or ACIMI.com.
ACIMI.com.
Can give more information.
Yeah, or as I said, you could just Google Master Teacher Radio. What I always suggest is listen to the audios, especially the early ones, when people were just starting this and they would just sit around the kitchen table and share. Those are the ones that are just amazing. So that's the commercial. It's nothing to do with me. It has to do with you. It has to do with you getting this, being totally wrong about everything, and then flipping that into the experience of being totally right about all things. So, are you willing to do it? I want everybody to unmute for a moment, and I'm going to ask you a question. So everybody unmute. And I want you to say either yes, no, no maybe. There's no maybe in this. It's yes or no. Are you willing to finally admit that you've been wrong about everything?
Yes.
I'm in.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Thank you. That's all we needed. That is all we need is that yes. And then celebrate. So now go celebrate being right about everything. Because that's where it's going to lead you. Love you.
So great. Love you.
Have an amazing day, everybody. Adios.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.